welcome back to the first solo episode in a little while. How have you been? I hope you have enjoyed the guest episodes that I've gone out while I've been taking a little unplanned break from doing solo recordings. If you are up to date though on all the episodes, you may remember that I shared one a little while back that was kind of all about the direction of my business shifting, about wanting to go into coaching. And then I did another episode about the definition of success, the dictionary definition, my definition. And today is a continuation on that theme, and almost if those two episodes had a baby. And I'm fairly confident also in saying that you can expect more episodes on similar themes to this going forwards. There will still be guest episodes, focusing on self-trust and how guests are doing something their own way, but they won't necessarily be every other week now. And then the solo episodes will be a little more focused around topics like this, so thriving and surviving social media, the mindset of that, understanding what success looks like for you, not comparing yourself online, and really just building a business and a life that works for you. And so on that theme, today I want to talk about the messy middle. If you've spent any time online as a business owner, you've likely heard this phrase, and it sort of encapsulates the phase of business where you're not new, but you've not grown and scaled yet either. And my question is, what if you want to stay there? What if you don't want to scale? What if you want to stay in that middle ground where work pays your bills, you have a steady income, you are the main driver of the business, and you're not planning on growing a team to kind of help with that? I think there are far more people sitting in that camp than we're aware of. And I've had a lot of conversations recently in the last few months, maybe like last 6 months, that have really confirmed this for me. Because nobody's celebrating this stage of business. There's a lot of acknowledgement of it as this middle stage. And there's a lot of business owners who are exactly at that stage in business, but they're just kind of quietly cracking on with the day-to-day behind the scenes, and we're not really talking about it other than to say that it's that bit that we've all just got to get through. But I don't think we're talking about it enough, and maybe not always in the right way as well, because when you look at social media, the focus is always on leveling up, increasing your revenue, growing a team so you can step back, stepping into your CEO self. The coaching industry is dominated by that messaging, and it's something I've really noticed as someone who is kind of tiptoeing into the coaching industry. And I do get it, because that is aspirational, and there will be a lot of people, and there are a lot of people looking to work with a coach, a business coach, because that is what they want. They want that next level. But, and I do think there is a but here, it does leave a gap. It leaves a gap where the business owners who aren't new, who are really good at what they do and have been doing it a year, 2 years, 3 years, they don't really know where they belong if that's not what they want. And maybe they'll start questioning if they're doing business wrong. Like, are they wrong for not wanting those things? And only being able to see that kind of makes you think that that is your only next step, to become the CEO, to grow a team, to try and hit 6 figures. That just becomes the natural next step, and we kind of start working towards it by default. So I just wanted to record an episode today that says it's incredible if you do want that, but it's also A-okay if you don't, And I think I sit in that camp of that's not what I want. So this episode is coming to you from that perspective of, I feel like nobody else is talking about this because I kind of feel on my own with it, but also from a lot of conversations that I've been having where everyone kind of says, I wish more people spoke about this, or like, oh, it's so liberating to hear you talk about this. Really, the most important thing and the most important message to come from today's episode is working out what it is that you do want. And whatever it is that you want is fine. You're allowed to want whatever you want. But making sure that it is what you actually want and what you actually care about, and not something that you're working towards just because you think you should want to. Now, one of the incredible things about self-employment is that uncapped earning potential. And I think this is kind of where it comes from. We have these endless possibilities as business owners. And I think we've almost, in some situations, made that a negative, where we've taken that fact, which is really cool, like we can do whatever we want, we can earn, in theory, however much we want, and we've turned that into a pressure of thinking that we've got to maximise that opportunity. Just because we've got that opportunity, we've got to maximise it. But that's not true in any other industry. Like, you could train to become a doctor and you could specialise and specialise and specialise and train for years and years and years and years to get paid a lot of money to be a really niche neurosurgeon, for example. Or you could stop after your, 4-5 years of graft and training and decide that you're going to stay more of a generalist. Now, I don't know enough about being a doctor to get the language right here, but this is true in so many industries. You can niche and niche and niche, or you can stay where you are, and when you're not self-employed, no one bats an eyelid. Like, nobody is looking at, I don't know, a GP, for example, and being like, oh, but you could have specialised, couldn't you? You could have gone more niche. Like, we just don't do that. We just celebrate where they are. Or teachers, for example, you're not thinking, you're not head of English though. Like, I don't know why we do it as self-employed folk, and I think it's just what has become normal and celebrated online. So yeah, went on a little tangent there, but basically you're allowed to want to stay where you are. You're allowed to want to maybe do exactly what you're doing now, or earning exactly what you're earning now, and maybe your goal is simply to earn the same and work a few hours less in a week, work one day less in a week, or earn the same as you're earning now, but only working with clients that completely light you up, and being able to stop working with clients that put your nervous system on edge. Like, that is a fantastic next goal. Or getting rid of the services that you don't love and being able to book yourself out just doing things that you really love. That is so worth celebrating. And there are endless ways that you can run your business. And I don't think there should be any shame in saying, no, I'm good. Actually, I'm quite content. This is enough for me. And maybe that's temporary. Right now you're in a season of life where enough is all you want to do because you're focusing on something else. Maybe you have a young family, or an elderly relative needs help being cared for, or you're traveling the world, so you want to spend more time away from your laptop, or you're also studying something alongside building your business. Or maybe there is no reason, and you don't need a reason. You don't need to justify your life choices. Maybe you've just decided that actually I can now replace what I was earning in my previous 9 to 5, and I'm good with this. This is all I ever really wanted. So I don't really know what we call it when the messy middle becomes our end goal. Is it just that it gets less messy? And I think it's really easy to forget what we started for when we're in this quote unquote middle of business. We've spent a few years online soaking up all of this information and all of this marketing, and then what we want and our own actual opinions and feelings have just been muddled a little bit with those expectations and that external noise. And it's something actually that when one of my friends was going into being self-employed, after I'd given some advice on like the practical financy, like logistics of being self-employed, my first piece of advice was whatever it is now that is driving you to become self-employed, and it was just a desire for like to live her life basically. I was like, hold on to that, cling onto that and do not let it go, because I've seen so many people lose sight of what it is that they started for. And I think it's, this isn't just a business owner thing. I think it's true for social media generally. We get distracted by seeing things online and then we start thinking, oh, maybe we should want that or we should work towards that. But if all you set out to do with your business was just to replace a previous salary, or maybe to earn a little bit more or even earn a little bit less, and you were happy to earn a little bit less but have more time on your hands in the week and have more flexibility to do whatever it is that you want or need to do, I just think those goals are so valid and we don't talk about them enough. For example, when I started this business, I'd always said that my end goal, I would love to get to a place financially where I could take my family out for a meal and pick up the bill without having to check Monzo and like shuffling balances around in my bank accounts. I don't know exactly what that income goal was. I didn't have a specific number on it, but it was just that feeling really. And I wanted the flexibility to be able to pick my future kids up from nursery or go pick my niece up from school in future if, she was sick and needed to come home and my sister was at work. I would love to have that flexibility, and they were kind of the only real goals that I set out with at the beginning. And I know a lot of the talk online will kind of say like, oh, I'm playing small, think bigger. But why? If that's what makes you happy, why? Also, your goals are allowed to change. So this week I went to a big M&S to get some picnic food for my partner's birthday. I wanted to go out for a picnic in the evening because it was really nice weather. And I thought I'll go and get some bits from M&S because it's a special occasion. And now one of my goals is to be able to afford to go and do the food shopping at big M&S more often. And also be able to think, ooh, I like that dress on my way out from doing the food shopping, and actually afford to like pick it up and just get it without having to really plan for that purchase. And I know they're not crazy goals, and I do think that having more income can open lots of doors. You could do a lot of good with having more income. You can help more people along the way. If you earn more, then maybe you can give more of your time away for free or for a more accessible amount. Or, you can get private medical care. Or you've got the freedom, if you're in a pickle, if your train is cancelled, to be able to jump in an Uber. Or you can give more money to charity. I'm not against big money goals by any stretch. I just think it's not a must. Just because you work for yourself. We shouldn't be putting that pressure on ourselves just because it's an option. There's so much in life that is an option, and social media is showing us all of it. But it doesn't mean we have to have it, especially if it means that we're working ourselves into the ground just to get something that we probably didn't actually, we'd have been very happy without. So I just think it's important for us to remember what matters to us. So have a think about what brings you joy and what makes you look back and think, that's been a really good week. What are those things that make you feel like it's been a really good week? And how can you have more of that in your business, in your life? And before I end today's episode, I also want to add, I do feel like it's really helpful to have this awareness and kind of know where you sit, decide which camp you're in. So if you do want to grow a company, go all in on that. And know going into it that it will take consistent, persistent effort. And if you want it quickly, it's going to require at least a little bit of hustle. And anyone who says otherwise is a liar, liar, pants on fire. I know a lot of people will try and say that it's easy, but it's not. It requires a lot of effort. And if you don't want that, if you do just want a sort of slower, quieter, more flexible, I was going to say normal, but what is normal? Like chill, balanced life, then own that. Know that when coaches and other online mentors are talking about the hustle and the effort and those big shiny wins, know that you don't want it. Or you'll forever feel like you're doing something wrong, and you're not. They're just not talking to you. So know that they are not talking to you and you are not their ideal client, and that is okay. Because if you don't decide and you straddle that fence, you'll be putting in the effort of someone who is just keeping their business going while consuming content for someone who is keeping their business growing. And that misalignment is going to leave you feeling all kinds of crappy. It's going to mess with your head, and you're going to invest in the wrong spaces with mentors who are trying to help you achieve goals that you don't actually want. But if you get off that fence and decide which camp you're in, you can water your grass on your side while cheering for everyone on the other side. If you know that you don't want those things, you can celebrate the people achieving those things without feeling like kind of bitter and jealous because you're so sure in your own decisions. And hey, there's nothing stopping you from hopping that fence in future if you change your mind. Whether that is in a week, in a month, in a year, you're in charge, you get to decide. But those two camps require different levels of effort, different investments, different goals. So if you're actually happy with where you are in business right now, then let yourself be happy. Let yourself enjoy life. Get through your priority tasks for the day, shut your laptop, and go live your life. Enjoy your evening, enjoy your morning, well, whichever working routine you've got, enjoy it. And I shared this reminder over on Instagram a few weeks ago. I feel like it's a good summary for today's episode, so I am choosing it as my cheesy closing quote for the day. Just a reminder that how much you love your life offline matters more than how much others love how your life looks online. So with that, I hope you have a gorgeous rest of your week in whichever camp you are in, and I will speak to you next Wednesday. Bye!